Hello and welcome back from a Diwali vacation. Once again, this is your host Harshit Sinha with another interesting topic related to the scope, issues and challenges India faces unique challenges in implementing environmental, social and governance ESG frameworks effectively. The primary hurdle lies in standardizing ESG reporting metrics across diverse industry sectors, considering India's complex business ecosystem ranging from large conglomerates to MSMEs. Data quality and verification remain significant, with limited third-party assurance mechanisms and inconsistent disclosure practices. Many companies struggle with the technical expertise and resources required for comprehensive ESG implementation, particularly in measuring environmental impact and carbon footprint. Social parameters present distinct challenges in the Indian context, including informal labor practices, supply chain complexity, and varying regional labor standards. Governance issues are complicated by the prevalence of family-owned businesses and overlapping ownership structures. The regulatory landscape is evolving, with SEBI's Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting (BRSR) mandate for the top 1,000 listed companies. However, smaller companies face resource constraints in meeting these requirements. Additionally, there's a notable gap between global ESG standards and local business realities. Now let us explore the scope, issues, and challenges in detail. It all started with the investment in ESG that is rapidly gaining traction in India, driven by growing awareness of sustainability issues, shifting investor preferences, and regulatory support. ESG investments are designed to not only deliver financial returns, but also contribute to broader societal and environmental goals. While ESG investing in India is still in its early stages compared to global markets, there have been significant strides in the last few years. Let us explore some important factors. 1. ESG Investment Scenario. India's ESG investment landscape is evolving, with increasing participation from institutional investors, asset managers, and retail investors. ESG-focused mutual funds, exchange-traded funds, ETFs, and green bonds are gaining popularity. In 2020, India's Securities and Exchange Board, SEBI, introduced new guidelines for ESG disclosures, requiring listed companies to report on key ESG factors. This has led to a rise in ESG-compliant financial products and investment vehicles. Major asset management firms and public sector banks have also launched ESG-themed funds, targeting both retail and institutional investors. 2. Performance metrics. In terms of performance, ESG investments in India are showing promising results. Studies indicate that ESG-compliant companies tend to outperform their peers in terms of risk-adjusted returns, thanks to their focus on sustainability and good governance. However, the adoption of clear, standardized performance metrics remains a challenge. Companies are required to disclose ESG data, but inconsistencies in reporting practices and the absence of a unified framework for measuring ESG performance can affect comparability. Major indices like the NSE Nifty 100 ESG Index are helping standardize ESG performance metrics, but more comprehensive and transparent data is needed. 3. While ESG investments in India have seen growth, the market is still developing. Key challenges include data availability, standardization of ESG metrics, and a need for deeper integration of sustainability into mainstream financial decision-making. However, as regulatory frameworks mature and awareness increases, India's ESG investment ecosystem is expected to expand significantly in the coming years. Continuing from previous slide, we will first discuss the FDI attracting, that is, foreign investment flows are increasingly being influenced by environmental, social, and governance ESG considerations, creating a new paradigm in international investment decisions. Global investors now view ESG compliance as a critical factor in risk assessment and long-term value creation, particularly in emerging markets like India. The second is global standard alignment. International investors expect alignment with globally recognized ESG frameworks such as GRI, SASB, and TCFD. Companies seeking foreign capital must demonstrate compliance with these standards while navigating local regulatory requirements. This dual compliance challenge requires significant organizational transformation and resource allocation. The alignment process also involves adopting international best practices in areas like carbon accounting, human rights, due diligence, and corporate governance. The third is related to enhanced reporting. The demand for transparent and comprehensive ESG reporting has led to the evolution of more sophisticated disclosure mechanisms. Foreign investors require detailed reporting on environmental metrics like carbon emissions, water usage, waste management, etc. Social indicators like labor practices, community impact, human rights, and governance structures like board composition, ethics policies, risk management, etc. The investment impact of ESG performance significantly influences by access to global capital markets, valuation premiums, cost of capital, and investment risk assessment. Companies with robust ESG frameworks and reporting mechanisms are better positioned to attract foreign investment. However, challenges remain in standardizing reporting across different jurisdictions, building internal capacity for ESG implementation, managing compliance costs, and balancing local and global requirements. The integration of ESG considerations in foreign investment decisions continues to drive improvements in corporate sustainability practices and transparency. Now we shall discuss what are the factors for the rise of ESG investing in India. First is related to market growth. India's ESG investment landscape has witnessed exponential growth, with ESG assets under management, AUM, growing from Rs 2,268 crore in 2019 to over Rs 12,000 crore by 2023. This growth is driven by increasing awareness among domestic investors and pressure from global investment partners. The number of ESG-compliant companies in India's top 100 listed entities has increased from 12 in 2019 to 58 in 2023. The second is related to status of ESG funds. The Indian market has seen a proliferation of ESG-focused mutual funds and exchange-traded funds, ETFs. Major fund houses including SBI, Axis, ICICI Prudential, and Aditya Birla Sun Life have launched dedicated ESG funds. These funds typically invest in companies demonstrating strong environmental stewardship, social responsibility, and robust governance practices. The investment universe has expanded beyond traditional green sectors to include technology, healthcare, and consumer goods companies with strong ESG credentials. While the most important factor is related status of outperformance, ESG funds in India have shown mixed performance relative to conventional funds. During the 2020-2023 period, ESG funds demonstrated better downside protection during market volatility. Analysis shows that companies with higher ESG scores have generally exhibited lower cost of capital, better operational efficiency, enhanced risk management, stronger stakeholder relationships, and higher valuations. However, challenges remain in standardizing ESG metrics and ensuring consistent outperformance across market cycles. Now let us explore the status of financial services. First is related to priority sector lending during 2015. In April 2015, the Reserve Bank of India, RBI, made a landmark decision by including renewable energy in priority sector lending. This inclusion set bank loans up to Rs 15 crore for solar, biomass, and wind energy projects under priority sector lending. The policy revision triggered significant growth in green financing, with banks required to allocate 40% of their adjusted net bank credit to priority sectors. This regulatory push helped India's renewable energy capacity grow from 35.5 GWh in 2015 to over 100 GWh by 2022, demonstrating the financial sector's crucial role in sustainable development. The second is related to green bond guidelines. In 2018, SEBI introduced comprehensive guidelines for green bond issuance, defining eligible projects and disclosure requirements. The framework aligned with International Capital Market Association's ICMA green bond principles, establishing standards for use of proceeds, project evaluation criteria, management of proceeds, and regular reporting requirements. This regulatory clarity catalyzed India's green bond market, with issuances growing from 1.1 billion in 2017 to 7.3 billion by 2022. The framework particularly benefited renewable energy, clean transportation, and sustainable infrastructure projects, attracting both domestic and international investors. The third is related to ESG risk assessment. In 2021, Indian banks significantly enhanced their credit appraisal processes by integrating ESG risk assessment frameworks. Major banks like SBI, HDFC, and ICICI introduced comprehensive ESG scoring models for corporate lending. Key features included environmental impact assessment, social responsibility metrics, governance structure evaluation, sector-specific ESG benchmarks, and regular ESG compliance monitoring. This transformation reflected the banking sector's commitment to sustainable finance, with many institutions linking loan pricing to ESG performance. The shift helped banks better manage climate-related risks and align with global sustainable banking practices. The fourth is related to ESG-linked loans that represent an innovative financing mechanism where banks offer preferential interest rates to borrowers who meet specific environmental, social, and governance (ESG) targets. These sustainability-linked loan structures typically feature a margin reduction of 2 to 10 basis points for achieving predetermined ESG metrics, such as reducing carbon emissions, improving workplace safety, or enhancing board diversity. This creates a win-win situation. Borrowers benefit from lower borrowing costs while improving their sustainability practices, and banks reduce their exposure to ESG risks while contributing to sustainable development. Major financial institutions like BNP Paribas and ING have been pioneers in this space, with the global ESG-linked loan market growing significantly. And the last one is related to sustainable insurance. Indian insurers have innovated sustainable insurance products that address climate risks while promoting eco-friendly practices. Key developments include premium discounts for green buildings, special coverage for renewable energy projects, weather index-based agricultural insurance, electric vehicle-specific policies, and sustainability-linked premium adjustments. Major insurers like LIC, IKCI Lombard, and HDFC Ergo have launched products covering climate-related risks while incentivizing sustainable practices. The sustainable insurance market has grown significantly, with green insurance premiums increasing from Rs 800 crore in 2020 to over Rs 2500 crore by 2023. Mainly classified under three main categories as first, environmental stewardship that covers circular economy. Manufacturing companies are increasingly adopting circular economy principles to minimize waste and conserve resources. This involves designing products for recyclability, reusing materials, and reducing energy consumption. Clean technology. Investing in clean technologies such as renewable energy sources and energy-efficient processes can significantly reduce a company's environmental footprint. Besides use of AI technologies, say as machine learning, IoT and sensor and blockchain technology, making a way out for effective ESG database management. Supply chain sustainability. Ensuring sustainable practices throughout the supply chain is crucial. This includes minimizing carbon emissions, reducing waste, and promoting ethical sourcing. Second is related with social responsibility, worker welfare and safety. Prioritizing worker safety and well-being is essential. This involves providing safe working conditions, fair wages, and opportunities for skill development. Community engagement. Building strong relationships with local communities can lead to positive social impact. Companies can contribute to community development initiatives, support education, and create job opportunities. And above all, the master layer in ESG is related to governance. Ethical business practices. Adhering to ethical business practices, such as avoiding corruption and bribery, is crucial for maintaining a positive reputation. Transparency and accountability. Transparent reporting on ESG performance can enhance trust with stakeholders. This includes disclosing environmental impact, social initiatives, and governance practices. By integrating ESG principles into manufacturing processes, companies can create a more sustainable and responsible future. ESG in rural development. largely focused on first sustainable agriculture. India's rural development landscape has witnessed significant ESG-driven transformations in recent years. In sustainable agriculture, initiatives like the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana have promoted organic farming, reduced chemical fertilizer use, and improved soil health. This has helped small and marginal farmers adopt eco-friendly practices while enhancing crop yields and incomes. Second is related with rural renewable energy access that has expanded dramatically, with the government's Pradhan Mantri Sahaj Bijli Har Ghar Yojana electrifying over 28 million households by 2023. This has improved energy security, reduced carbon emissions, and enabled productive uses of electricity in agriculture and rural enterprises. While the last is the major element related to financial inclusion that has been a key priority, with the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana opening over 460 million bank accounts. This has empowered the unbanked population, enabling access to credit, insurance, and government welfare schemes. Digital payment infrastructure and self-help group linkages have further strengthened financial inclusion in rural India. Urban planning is largely confined to one, green infrastructure that addresses three main issues about urban forests. Planting trees and creating green spaces can help mitigate urban heat islands, improve air quality, and enhance biodiversity. Green roofs and walls. These features can reduce energy consumption, absorb stormwater runoff, and provide habitat for wildlife. Water-sensitive urban design. Implementing water-sensitive design strategies, such as bioretention ponds and permeable pavements, can help manage stormwater runoff and reduce flooding. 2. Renewable energy access. Promote by large three methods. Solar power. Installing solar panels on rooftops and in community solar projects can reduce reliance on fossil fuels and lower greenhouse gas emissions. Wind power. Utilizing wind energy, especially in coastal or windy areas, can provide clean and renewable electricity. Energy efficiency. Improving energy efficiency in buildings and infrastructure can significantly reduce energy consumption and associated emissions. 3. Waste management takes up the challenge of waste reduction and recycling. Implementing waste reduction programs, recycling initiatives, and composting can minimize waste disposal and conserve resources. Waste to energy. Converting waste into energy through technologies like incineration and anaerobic digestion can reduce landfill waste and generate electricity. Sustainable materials. Promoting the use of sustainable materials in construction and infrastructure can reduce the environmental impact of urban development. By incorporating these ESG principles into urban planning, cities can create more sustainable, resilient, and equitable environments for future generations. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, has introduced a comprehensive regulatory framework for environmental, social, and governance (ESG) rating providers (ERPs). This framework, part of the SEBI Credit Rating Agency's Regulations 1999, aims to enhance transparency, accountability, and reliability in ESG ratings. Key guidelines include mandatory registration for ERPs, sharing draft ESG rating reports with rated entities before publication, and allowing issuers to respond to ratings. Additionally, ERPs using a subscriber pays model are exempt from disclosing ratings to stock exchanges, provided they have no non-public information affecting the rating. Globally, SEBI's policy sets a benchmark for ESG regulation, positioning India ahead of many developed jurisdictions like the EU, UK, and Singapore. This move is expected to attract more sustainable investments and improve the overall ESG ecosystem by addressing issues like greenwashing and inconsistent rating methodologies. As of the latest available information, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, has recognized nearly 14 ESG rating providers that can assess the environmental, social, and governance performance of companies. Further, the rating indices play a crucial role in assessing the performance of companies and sectors. In India, several indices specifically track the performance of companies committed to environmental, social, and governance (ESG) principles. First, Nifty 100 ESG sector leaders. Index. This index tracks the performance of the top 100 ESG leaders from the Nifty 100 index. It aims to provide investors with an opportunity to invest in companies that demonstrate strong ESG practices. Second, MSCI India ESG leaders. Index. MSCI, a leading provider of investment decision tools and services, has launched the MSCI India ESG Leaders Index. This index tracks the performance of Indian companies that demonstrate strong ESG performance relative to their peers. Third, MSCI India ESG Leaders Index. This index is designed to track the performance of Indian companies that have high ESG ratings and low ESG risk scores. It offers investors exposure to companies that are committed to sustainability and responsible business practices. These indices provide valuable insights into the performance of ESG-focused companies in India. By tracking these indices, investors can make informed decisions and align their investments with their sustainability goals. The growing momentum of environmental, social, and governance (ESG) integration faces several significant hurdles. We shall now discuss various types of challenges in ESG. The first challenges is related to adoption of ESG philosophy. 1. Lack of standardization remains a primary concern, with multiple frameworks like GRI, SASB, and TCFD creating confusion among organizations. This fragmented landscape makes it difficult for companies to determine which standards to follow and complicates comparison across businesses and sectors. 2. Data availability poses another critical challenge. Companies struggle to collect comprehensive ESG data, particularly for Scope 3 emissions and supply chain metrics. Small and medium enterprises often lack the infrastructure to track and monitor ESG metrics effectively. Additionally, the quality and reliability of available data remain inconsistent, making it challenging for investors to make informed decisions. 3. Cost concerns significantly impact ESG adoption, especially for smaller organizations. Implementing robust ESG monitoring systems, hiring specialized personnel, and obtaining third-party verifications requires substantial investment. The need for regular reporting and updates adds to operational expenses, while technology upgrades for data collection and analysis further strain budgets. Addressing these challenges is key to advancing ESG adoption globally, promoting transparency, and fostering sustainable growth. Organizations face multiple hurdles in implementing effective ESG strategies. 1. Data quality, which remains a fundamental challenge with inconsistencies in measurement methodologies and reporting frameworks, making it difficult to ensure accurate, comparable information. Many companies struggle with data verification and validation processes. 2. Implementation costs that pose significant barriers, particularly for smaller organizations. The expenses include technology infrastructure, reporting systems, third-party audits, and compliance mechanisms. These financial burdens often deter companies from fully embracing ESG initiatives. 3. A growing skill gap further complicates ESG implementation. Organizations lack professionals with expertise in sustainability metrics, ESG reporting, and impact assessment. This shortage of qualified personnel hampers effective strategy execution and monitoring. 4. The inherent complexity of ESG frameworks creates confusion. Multiple stakeholder requirements, evolving regulations, and diverse reporting standards make implementation challenging. Organizations struggle to navigate this complex landscape while maintaining operational efficiency. 5. Finally, greenwashing concerns have intensified scrutiny of ESG claims. Companies face pressure to demonstrate genuine commitment rather than superficial compliance. The challenge lies in proving authentic ESG integration while avoiding accusations of misleading stakeholders. Finally, ESG implementation presents significant challenges for organizations striving to meet sustainability goals by reporting then true status of ESG for an entity. 1. Data collection that remains a fundamental hurdle as companies struggle to gather comprehensive, accurate information across complex global operations and supply chains. Organizations face difficulties in tracking and measuring intangible metrics, particularly in social and governance dimensions. 2. Metric standardization that poses a major challenge due to multiple competing frameworks and reporting standards. The lack of unified measurement approaches makes it difficult for organizations to determine which metrics to prioritize and how to measure them consistently. This fragmentation creates confusion and increases compliance costs. 3. Verification of ESG data presents another significant challenge. Organizations struggle with validating data accuracy and establishing reliable audit trails. The absence of standardized verification processes raises questions about data credibility and reliability. 4. Comparability issues arise from inconsistent reporting methods across industries and regions. The lack of standardized metrics makes it difficult to benchmark performance and assess progress meaningfully against peers and industry standards. 5. Resource constraints significantly impact implementation efforts. Organizations face limitations in financial resources, technological infrastructure, and human capital needed for effective ESG integration and reporting. The environmental, social, and governance ESG framework is rapidly gaining traction in India, driven by the growing awareness of climate change, investor pressure, and regulatory mandates. The future of ESG in India holds immense potential, especially in the context to first potential in growing industries. India's commitment to achieving net zero emissions by 2070, as announced at the COP26 summit, has set the stage for a significant shift towards sustainable practices. The ESG framework is expected to play a crucial role in sectors such as renewable energy, electric vehicles, green hydrogen, and climate technology. These industries are poised to benefit from increased ESG investments, which could represent 34% of India's total assets under management, AUM, by 2051. Second, responsible business behavior. The ESG mandate encourages companies to adopt ethical practices, transparency, and accountability. This shift is not only beneficial for the environment, but also enhances corporate reputation and stakeholder trust. Indian businesses are increasingly integrating ESG principles into their strategies, focusing on reducing carbon footprints, promoting social responsibility, and ensuring good governance. Companies like Tata Steel, Infosys, and Mahindra have already made significant strides in this direction. Third, accounting market forces. ESG compliance is becoming a critical factor in financial performance and market valuation. Investors are increasingly considering ESG scores provided by research entities like MSCI and Sustainalytics when making investment decisions. This trend is driving companies to improve their ESG performance, to attract capital, and enhance their market position. Fourth, innovation and ideas. Innovation plays a pivotal role in advancing ESG goals. Companies are exploring new technologies and business models to address environmental and social challenges. For instance, the adoption of renewable energy sources, waste reduction initiatives, and sustainable supply chain practices are becoming more prevalent. These innovations not only contribute to sustainability, but also create new business opportunities and competitive advantages. Fifth, role of regulatory authority. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, has been instrumental in promoting ESG practices through initiatives like the Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting (BRSR) framework. SEBI's regulations mandate listed companies to disclose their ESG initiatives, ensuring transparency and accountability. The regulatory body also emphasizes the importance of ESG risk management and mitigation strategies. This regulatory support is crucial for fostering a culture of responsible business practices in India. And the last and final is related to enhancing India's ESG global leadership. India's proactive approach to ESG is positioning the country as a global leader in sustainability. By aligning with international standards and collaborating with global partners, India is contributing to the global sustainability agenda. The country's efforts in promoting ESG practices are not only beneficial for its own economic growth, but also for the global community. Here we end this presentation and now summarizing it with the topics we covered today. We introduced to the concept of the scope of applied ESG and describing the scenario of ESG investment in India. This is followed up ESG and foreign investment and thereby highlight the reasons for the rise of ESG investing in India. Later we discuss how ESG is related to financial services and manufacturing industries, and it is useful for rural development and urban planning. We also discuss about ESG rating policy and indices in India, and later highlighted various ESG challenges under 3 categories, as in adoption, implementation, and in reporting. Lastly, we narrated what is the future potential of ESG in India, but this will all happen only if there is huge investment for ESG in India. So stay tuned till next week when we dive into this interesting topic of what is the potential of the growth of ESG investing in India.